there's only a few days left till the end of the 2-month special retreat. If the yogi practice according to the guidance, respectfully, meticulously, thoroughly, without stopping, Khanika Samadhi, momentary concentration, becomes strengthened, and one is sure to improve and progress in the practice. And Sayadaw explained how the lower knowledges arise. And Sayadaw will not explain the higher knowledges. Sayadaw has been explaining how the yogi should be practicing respectfully, meticulously. So Sayadaw has been encouraging the yogis how they should be practicing diligently. And Sayadaw also explained the benefit of practice, that by practicing Satipatthana meditation, the mind, the attitude change, and one gains unrelinquishable kind of happiness that is very unique. And Sayadaw has been explaining from both theory and practice. Among the lower knowledges, Udayapaya Jnana, the knowledge into fast arising and passing away, it is the best knowledge among the lower knowledges. And Sayadaw explained briefly how one experiences in Udayapaya Jnana. In the stage of Udayapaya Jnana, there is illumination, piti, joy, passaddhi, tranquility. When the yogi gets to this Udayapaya Jnana, it is similar, it is compared to the second mundane Jhana. At the stage of Udayapaya Jnana, it is the Vipassana Jhana which is compared to the second mundane Jhana. And yogi is cultivating the jhanic factors, piti, sukha and ekaggata, joy, happiness and one-pointedness of the mind. But if the yogi thinks highly of such piti, sukha and ekaggata, one might mistake it for super-mundane knowledge. So it is important not to be mistaken. It is not the destination yet. It is just ordinary. And there are many good experiences in the higher knowledges. So the teacher has to explain to the yogi that there are many things ahead. There are many good things ahead. So that the yogi will continue the practice in order to attain the higher knowledges. And when the yogi continues the practice, there will be the two jhanic factors, upekkha, equanimity, and ekaggata, one-pointedness of the mind. So in this way, there will be two of the jhanic factors, equanimity and the one-pointedness of mind. And it is compared to tatiya jhana, the third absorption. In that stage, yogi can note objects with much ease and comfort. Even though the experiences are good, it is not the destination yet. So in Udayapaya Jnana, yogi discerns the dissolution of the object that has been noted. The old object arising, new, the old object passing away, new object arising. But later on in the practice, in the higher knowledge, yogi discerns not only the dissolution of the object that has been noted, but also the noting mind. In the earlier stages of knowledge, however, the practice is good, but yogi has not discerned the dissolution of the noting mind yet. So, just seeing the dissolution of the object that has been noted, it is not the higher kind of, it is not the mature kind of anicca nupassana yet, as the yogi only discerns the dissolution of the object that has been noted. But in the higher knowledge, yogi discerns not only the dissolution of the object that has been noted, but also the dissolution of the mind, the noting mind. Seeing the dissolution of the noting mind, the anicca nupassana jnana becomes mature. In the earlier stages, form or shape such as hand, feet, head prevail, and there will be paññatti, concept, that manifests. But in the higher knowledge, the concept will no longer prevail. There is no form or shape concept. What the yogi discerns is the dissolution of the object and the noting mind that notes it. At this stage, the arising will no longer manifest. The arising will no longer be prevalent. But the yogi discerns only the dissolution of the object that has been noted and the noting mind that knows it. So just like two persons jump into the water at the same time, in the same way, yogi discerns the dissolution of the object that has been noted as well as the dissolution of the noting mind that notes it. When the person sees only the dissolution of the object, it is just ordinary form of Vipassana. But discerning the dissolution of the object that has been noted as well as the dissolution of the noting mind, one attains Pati Vipassana. So at the stage of Bhanga Jnana and onwards, yogi sees the dissolution of both the object and the noting mind. And at this stage of Bhanga Jnana, it equals the fourth mundane jhana. And in place of sukha, upekkha, equanimity arises. And the yogi's Vipassana knowledge becomes mature, stage by stage. When the knowledge becomes mature, stage by stage, yogi realizes appavada, the cessation, by realizing the path and fruition knowledge. Realizing the appavada, the cessation, by attaining the path knowledge, one attains magga samadhi. And by attaining magga, one also attains phala, the fruition knowledge. And there will be phala samadhi. And the person reflects on this spiritual experience, and there will be Pasvakana samadhi, samadhi that associates with the reviewing knowledge is called Pasvakana samadhi. So these do not have to be practiced deliberately, but in order to cultivate Magga Samadhi, Phala Samadhi, and Paccavekkhana Samadhi, one needs to be mindful of the presently arising object. One should have sati, mindfulness, and one will discern the nama rupa cause and effect, and one will cultivate Vipassana Samadhi. Cultivating Vipassana Samadhi, when knowledge becomes mature, one also attains Magga Samadhi, Phala Samadhi, and Paccavekkhana Samadhi. So one has to practice diligently in order to cultivate Vipassana Samadhi, and from then on, one will attain the other kinds of Samadhi. Cultivating the Vipassana Samadhi, there will be good experiences, and the mind will have the mental strength. The mental strength will grow stronger and stronger. When the knowledge becomes strong, when one cultivates Uddiyabaya Jnana, the mental strength becomes outstandingly strong. In Anguttara Nikaya, Dhanavagga, there mentions the types of bala, the types of power or strength, the mental power or the mental strength. The mental power or the mental strength become amazingly strong. So the Buddha expounded the kinds of bala, the mental power or the mental strength. The first one is Sada Bala, the mental power of faith and confidence. The second is Viriya Bala, the mental power, mental strength of effort, courage. Hiri Bala is the third, the mental power of moral shame. And the fourth is Ottappa Bala, the mental power of moral fear. And the fifth is Sati Bala, the mental power of mindfulness. The sixth is Samadhi Bala, the mental power of concentration. And Panya Bala, the mental power of knowledge, discerning minute things even in detail. Saddha is the faith and confidence. When the mind is free from hindrances and defilements, the mind is serene and there will be faith and confidence. By practicing Satipatthana meditation according to the guidance, and one comes to acceptance, confirmation, and decision, this is the correct way. And when the person gets to Uddiyabaya Jnana, there will be acceptance, confirmation, and decision that this practice is correct. And when the person attains the appavada, the cessation, the person's faith and confidence will become firm and unshakable. Saddha Mulika Kamaskata Samadhi. The Kamaskata Samadhi is rooted in faith and confidence. One has the faith and confidence on the Kamma, good and bad deeds, and the Kamma effects. Knowing that good deeds bring good results, bad deeds bring bad results. Based on Saddha, faith and confidence, one practices and one's mind becomes purified and discerning the nama-rupa cause and effect, impermanent suffering and non-self. And one gains the knowledge discerning the fast arising and passing away. And the noting becomes smooth. Yogi can note the object with ease and comfort. Sada, faith and confidence, is cultivated. And one comes to have faith and confidence that Buddha practiced himself, and thus Buddha knew everything that should be known completely, and Buddha taught the beings, guiding the beings to practice the correct path. So in this way, one builds up faith and confidence in the Buddha through one's own practice. And one also has faith and confidence in the virtues of the Buddha, and one comes to have faith and confidence on the Buddha who led the way. But it will not be firm or unshaken if the person has not attained the path knowledge. But having practiced Satipatthana meditation, when Sada, faith and confidence become strong, if other persons say it is a useless kind of practice that wastes the time, but one will not accept such kind of opposite opinions. Comparing with one's own practice, one does not accept other kind of practice. Based on one's true practice, there will be a dimokha sada, there will be resolute faith. And by attaining Magga Phala Jnana, path and fruition knowledge, one attains Magga Samadhi, Phala Samadhi. Having attained Magga Samadhi and Phala Samadhi by realizing path and fruition knowledge, his or her faith and confidence will become Avacchapasada, unshakable faith. Having attained Magga Phala Jnana, one's faith and confidence is unshaken that one will never accept wrongful practices, and one attains the spiritual nutriments, just as when one gets the material nutrition, one's body becomes healthy and strong. In the same way, having practiced Satipatthana meditation, having attained Magga Phala Jnana, one's one's spiritual resistance and spiritual stamina become amazingly strong, so that there is good spiritual defense, and one will have spiritual stamina, and one will have unshaken, resolute faith and confidence. If one does not know the correct method, one should dispel this not knowing by learning. And one should have faith and confidence in the Satipatthana practice, and one should nurture faith and confidence with practice. Practicing respectfully, meticulously, then his or her practice will be good, and one gains purity of one's mind, and one's sada, faith and confidence will be increased stage by stage, and his or her faith and confidence will become more and more strong. Vipassana Samadhi will also become stronger and stronger, and the person is able to practice with courage without regard to one's body and life. In the beginning, one fears, but as the person gets good experiences in the practice, getting the flavor of the Dhamma, the person builds up more courage, having the courage to refrain from wrongdoings, having the courage to perform wholesome things. The person's body, speech and mind become pure and clean, away from the unwholesomeness. And knowledge arises, and whenever the object arises, one knows it right away, having mindfulness on the object that arises. And there is much courage, viriya bala, the mental power of effort, courage becomes strong, having the courage to dispel the unwholesomeness that the person's bodily behavior, verbal behavior, and mental behavior become pure, clean, and blameless. Through the practice of Satipatthana meditation, the mental strength becomes stronger and stronger, and the path of wholesomeness opens up. The path of wholesomeness opens up, and the person builds up more courage, practicing with courageous effort without withdrawing. Every time one exerts effort in the practice, one is overcoming laziness as well as other defilements. Having exerting effort, there is arata viriya, initial effort stage by stage, step up effort, and effort stage by stage, and effort gains momentum. It becomes pakaha viriya, persistent effort. At times, when the momentum of effort goes down, when the effort becomes weak, laziness as well as other defilements enter the mind. The person should have moral shame and moral fear from the defilements entering the mind. And one should have moral shame, moral fear from losing to note the object. Hiri is the moral shame, and Ottappa is the moral fear. Having moral shame and moral fear from the defilements that can arise in the mind if there is lack of mindfulness. Hiri and Ottappa, Sukha Dhamma, become stronger and stronger through the practice. Having Hiri and Ottappa, one repels the heat, and one automatically protects oneself. And thus Hiri and Ottappa are called Lokapala Dhamma, as they guard and protect the world, so that one will not be dirty or polluted. Having Lokapala Dhamma, having the guardian of the world, one will not be dirty and polluted, and thus one will shine with good qualities, as well as one will not be hurting the surrounding. Sila, Samadhi and Panya, morality, concentration and wisdom become stronger and stronger. Hiri and Ottappa is also compared to the backrest. If the vehicle has no backrest, one has to balance oneself so that one does not fall. But having the backrest, the person does not fall, and thus Hiri and Ottappa is compared to the backrest, so that the person does not fall into lower states. Having viriya, effort, one practices, and having moral shame and moral fear, one is shameful and afraid from the defilements, and the person takes more care in the practice, noting every arising object, taking care so that one will be mindful of every arising object, and sati becomes Vipassana sati, firmly established mindfulness, even mindful of small, minute objects in detail. And when there is Vipassana sati, the mindfulness becomes mature. Having mindfulness, there will be rakha and arakha, there will be protection. Having protection, there will be avarana, blocking the defilements, and thus the mind will be safe and secure from the defilements. Sati here is called sati bala, the mental power of mindfulness. Having sati mindfulness, one can conquer every defilement. Having sati mindfulness, one gains the victory on all the defilements. If defilements do not arise in the mind, it will not lead to bad behavior by body and speech. When the sati mindfulness becomes continuous, it will become stronger and stronger. As much one has mindfulness, greed does not arise based on the desirable objects. Anger does not arise connected with the undesirable objects. In this way, having mindfulness, the mind is guarded, protected, and thus the mind will be safe and secure. So Vipassana sati is one of the mental power. The tender stage of Udiyataya Jnana is compared to Dutiya Jhana, the second absorption. Discerning the Nama Rupa is compared to Upachara Jhana, the neighborhood concentration. Noting the object with aim and effort, the mind rubs and strokes against the object. Aiming the noting mind onto the object is vitakka. The mind rubbing, stroking against the object is vichara. But as the person becomes skillful, the mind is automatically aimed and directed onto the object without having to aim the mind deliberately. The noting mind becomes automatically direct or face-to-face with the object. And at this stage, the factors vitakka and vichara fall away at the stage of samasana jnana. So when the practice becomes skillful, at the stage of samasana jnana, vitakka and vichara fall away as the mind is automatically direct or face-to-face with the object. And the notings become active. One notes the object effectively, efficiently, and there is joy, piti, joy arises, either knowingly or there is a subtle kind of piti, and sukha, happiness, ekagata, one-pointedness of the mind. So in the tender stage of Udiyataya Jnana, there are the three factors, piti, joy, sukha, happiness, and ekagata, one-pointedness. and illumination, joy, tranquility arises, the tender stage of Uddiyabaya Jnana is compared to the second absorption. And as the yogi keeps on practicing with the encouragement of the teachers, the practice gains more momentum, and piti, joy, fall away. Sukha, as sukha is near to piti, then it is also some activeness in the sukha as it is nearing piti. But in the mature stage of Uddiyabaya Jnana, there are only the two jhanic factors left, sukha, happiness, and ekagata, one-pointedness. And at the stage of Bhanga Jnana, in place of sukha, upekkha, equanimity arises. So at the stage of Bhanga Jnana, upekkha, equanimity, and ekagata, one-pointedness arise as two of the jhanic factors. And at the stage of Bhanga Jnana, there is no happiness, but the mind is calm in equanimity, and the person's mind is much composed with equanimity. At this stage, there is calm happiness, and samadhi bala, the mental power of concentration, becomes strong. And there is upekkha, equanimity, samadhi, concentration become more collected. In the Bhanga Jnana, the happiness is no longer present, but there is the equanimity, the balance of the mind, and the one-pointedness becomes stronger. So it is calm, equanimous, and good. So the two jhanic factors, upekkha and ekagata, equanimity and one-pointedness, are present in the Bhanga Jnana, and it is equal to the fourth jhana. So whatever one comes across, there is mindfulness. Having mindfulness, the samadhi, concentration, and panya, knowledge, become also strong, and one discerns even the minute details, discerning correctly, completely, by oneself, distinctly, outstandingly, and it excels the other kind of knowledges that are theoretical. So the knowledge becomes very clear-cut, and there is sambhajanya, knowing correctly, completely, by oneself, distinctly, in a clear-cut way. And one cultivates panya bala, the mental power of knowledge. The power of knowledge is the most important. But still, the mental factors are not as yet mature, but in the higher knowledges, the mental strength will be stronger and stronger, and Vipassana samadhi will become stronger and stronger. So one has to practice to that stage till one's knowledge becomes mature. So practicing Satipatthana meditation, one should practice so that one's mental strength will become stronger and stronger, and it will be changing one's life even in this life. So one should practice Satipatthana meditation in order to be free from the gravity of defilements. One should practice Satipatthana meditation to be free from the gravity of defilements that can make the person inferior. So may you all be able to practice Satipatthana meditation to be free from the gravity of defilements, so that one's life will be very pure. And this will be all for today.